Okay, here we're going to develop what we call an empirical probability distribution with class width 10. And the tool that we're going to use for that is just a simple stem and leaf diagram, where this time I've just used the categories 120 something, 130 something, 140 something, 150 something, 160 something. We see that we had 128 and 124, 135, 137, etc. Now we can tally the number that we have in each class. There are 2 in this one, 8 in this one, and so forth. And we could do a histogram. We just looked at a histogram not too long ago that represented this kind of a tally. To get the empirical probabilities, empirical probability just means something we actually measure, something we actually observe. We see that there are a total of how many? 20 readings. And we get those just by adding these numbers. So we see that 2 out of the 20 are 120 something, and 8 out of the 20 are 130 something. Well, we can write probabilities with these. 2 out of 20, what's the probability? The probability is 2 out of 20, that's 10%, right? 2 divided by 20, you can check the arithmetic. But we're going to write down a probability here of, let's just make a little row in between the stem and the leaf. We're kind of messing up the stem and leaf diagram. But the probability is 0.10. This is again the empirical probability, something we actually observed. 8 out of 20 is, well, that's 40%, or 0.40. 6 out of 20 is 0.30. 15 out of 20, whoops, 3 out of 20, sorry, is 0.15, and 1 out of 20 is 0.05. We note that these total up to 1.00 when we add them. So what we now have is an empirical probability distribution for the different classes. It looks like 10% of the time we're in the 120s, 40% of the time in the 130s, 30% of the time in the 140s, and so forth. Now, as conditions change, these probabilities might change, but this might be a good baseline to start with to assess the possible damage that would be done by these blood pressures. We note that we can do an ordered stem-leaf diagram. We've just taken the numbers that we have in this diagram and put them in order down here. Now, this helps us see things like the fact that we've got 2 5s and 2 9s and 2 1s and 2 3s here. It also tells us what's going on within each class.